Hey there everyone and welcome. It is AJ and I am back with another video, and in today's video I am actually going to be plunging into the project file of my Hayley Dakai series, and I am really excited to go through this with you. I've actually taken a bit of a step back with designing this character, and I've actually kind of sort of went a bit back to basics. So this video is actually going to be more of a sort of back to basics type thing using this book, which I have used to sort of reference and hopefully help me with some of the poses for this particular video. And what I am going to do is I'm going to do this process as a sort of time lapse, and show you kind of where I've got to get to this sort of final image that I have made here. Can you actually see it? Yes, you can. So that is good. And yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of sort of start off with the sort of initial thing that I did for this character, which I ended up not particularly liking. I felt that it seemed a bit stiff and stuff. So what I did was this, and I will pop it actually here. What I did was this, and as you can see, it's not sort of, it seems stiff, and also it's the sort of angle that I've done this at, so I've done it as a portrait, doesn't really do the shot justice. So I wanted to work on that, and I did actually post this to Instagram. And I really wanted to kind of focus on the sort of pose here. So what I've actually done is taken a step back, used the book, and sort of learnt a bit more about gesturing and finding out forces and motion and things to kind of give me a sort of better view of this. Now you will see this as we go through the course of the video, as I do a time lapse of this, and hopefully you will get some sort of knowledge out of this. The book that I am using is Michael D. Matasai Force book, which has got some really useful sort of directional poses and gestures. And as you can see, I've just really sort of focused on getting that and understanding more about the forces and things in order to come up with a better pose. And I hope the final image in this particular video will showcase that a little bit. So to begin, what I did was I got some scrap bits of paper so that I wasn't worrying about my sketchbook, which has quite decent paper, and decided to go on to Pinterest, which I will have flicking through in the top right corner, and just go through some various different poses on Pinterest and see what I could find, and also then make up. So I went through a couple of pages of females and then a couple of pages of males. Unfortunately, for some reason, the first one for the males one didn't record, but I did manage to get the second one for the males. And by the end of this, I'd really loosened up, and I was really quite happy with the results of that. Then once I had done that, I then went on to actually doing Hayley Dakai, and I did initially have a couple of false starts. As you can see, I do erase it a couple of times before finally getting on to the sort of other pose, and it really helped the sort of exercise that I did before to kind of loosen up and make Hayley Dakai as best as I possibly could. In the sketchbook, I did do it as a sort of really more of a rough sort of sketch, with the hopes to sort of refine and make it look better. And then I added the background as well that I wanted to do. The background's a little bit different to how I ended up doing it in the final illustration, but I'm really happy with how that turned out. I was a bit wondering how to do the sort of arms, so I did that. and kind of like the arms aren't particularly great, but I'm still quite happy with like the sort of pose, and I feel as though it does show a sort of like sense of the forces that I've learned in doing the exercises. Just a little bit on the pencil that I was using a 6B pencil, I believe. This is because it was kind of like, it just allowed for the expressions to come through really easily. And then I moved on to shading just so I could get a few values in and stuff. So I kind of like moved on from what I was learning before. Once I had done the initial sketch, or well, should I say the shaded like sort of practice, I then went on to a bit of cardstock and started to have a look at doing this. And as I say, I did a bit of a sort of redesign of her, and again there was a couple of false starts, and I really enjoyed sort of like doing this and redesigning her dress, and also kind of like doing a sort of unarmored version of her. I really like the face style that I managed to do with this, and I think I might explore this like sort of style in the future. And I worked a bit on the pose as well, and made sure that the arms were okay. I wasn't particularly 100% on the arms, and what I did was, once I'd got like the sort of initial sketch and stuff done and the initial line work done, I left it overnight and then came back to it today and had a little bit of a look to see what I could do. And I found that the arm was a bit too muscular that I'd done for her, and also the sort of the other arm on the right hand side of her was a bit sort of weird. So I decided to have a bit of a go at doing something a bit different there, and also readjusted the arm for her left hand side as well. But I really like the sort of background that I managed to do for this. I think I'm going to crop it in a little bit, because I think the sort of A4 size is a bit too big, and it could do with being slightly smaller. And yeah, but I really like the sort of effects that I managed to get here, and I'm looking forward to adding bits of colour to this as well, and coming up with the sort of final image for the piece. The hair, I'm actually really quite happy with how this turned out, and I'm really looking, I really like the sort of like flow that I managed to get for it. It's not too stiff, and it is still like sort of, it looks as though it's attached to a head and not just a wig. And then I decided, this was the sort of time when I was figuring out what I wanted to do for her, like whether this was going to be sort of a dress that's a bit longer rather than a coat, and sort of like a different sort of attire. I really like the effects that I managed to get with the bottom of the dress, like the sort of folds as well. I think I did quite a good job on that, and the sort of crisscross on the sort of lapel. Is it a lapel? I'm not 100% sure. Whatever it is that comes down the front anyway. And yeah, I just like the sort of like curvature that I've managed to get there to show like the breast area, and also the stomach and things. And I just think I've done quite a decent job on that there. I'm gonna let that finish, and you can see the final outcome towards the end. I'm just going to play a bit of music as it gets to there now, because there's still a bit of footage to go, and I've got nothing more to say. Well, as you can see, I really have focused on that, and she is a bit different from when I originally did the character, although I think this is going to be sort of a more casual sort of style for her, whereas the other style that I did, which is this one, is more of her sort of battle attire, but I've kind of like redesigned her a little bit anyway, and added the sort of made it so that she's got a bit more of a dress and a bit more sort of casual, but then she can like transform into this battle sort of battle attire and when she goes into battle. So I'm really like the sort of two different styles for that there, and I quite like the sort of redesign that I've done of her clothes with the sort of lacy patterns and that there. So what I plan on doing is moving on to the like sort of next video, doing a bit of colour for her and then getting her ready that way, and then she should be up and ready for the next for this new short story that I'm going to be posting on my website. Talking on my website, please do go check it out. I have got some prints available which you can see, of course, and also just to let you guys know, I have actually opened up a Patreon, and next month I am going to do a bit of a sort of special offer on that, so you can look forward to that. I'm going to do also a little launch video for the Patreon, but at the moment I've just kind of like got it sat there in the background, so if you do happen to want to be able to support me and stuff, it will be greatly appreciated, and I've got some great perks available there as well, so do go check it out, and let me know in the community bit if you've got any questions or anything like that, and I'll be happy to answer. I will also like to say, please remember to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel if you did like the video, and also leave a comment below in the box below the description box, and also remember to go check out my Twitter and Instagram. I do post regularly on Instagram now. It's something that I've kind of like really been focused on doing. So what I'll say then is until next time, ta-ra.